Hello and welcome. This is Mouse Gunner, and we're back with some more Hearthstone. And in this video, we're going to be featuring yet another deck build. So, the deck I'm going to be showing is what I call the Comboist deck. Now, this is a deck that's set up with the Shaman hero. And the idea behind this is, as the name implies, to combo, but it's kind of what I consider the key of deck building is always keep in mind what your kill cards are going to be, what you're going to use to win the match. Yeah, you can flesh out a deck with a lot of strong minions, but oftentimes the key to, having a really successful deck is having some kind of kill strategy in mind. So what this deck does is it uses a couple different strategies to get you that kill. The first strategy is the Wind Fury Rockbiter combo. This is a good combo because Wind Fury and Rockbiter alone do not cost a whole lot of mana. We're only talking about 3 mana here. So the idea is you play a beefier minion, let's say the Boulder Fist Ogre. You play that beefier minion. If it can survive the turn that you play it, back around so that it is now activatable, able to attack, then you play your Wind Fury, then you play your Rockbiter, and you just smash the opponent. You've just done 18 damage in one turn with one minion. The other, kill strategy with this deck is Bloodlust. You can take advantage of the hero's ability here to flood the board with totems. When and if I can, I'm always going to be playing things so that I always have enough mana left over to always throw out a totem. Eventually, if the totems aren't taken care of, you have a pretty decently flooded board. And let's just say, as an example here, you have 6 minions out on the board. Even without considering those minions' damage, this card will allow you to do, in one turn, 18 damage. Then you add on whatever the damage value of the minions that are on the board. And it's very easy to do 20 plus damage in one turn just by playing this one card. So there's a couple different kill strategies here. But the idea with this deck is you hold these cards until that situation has arrived. When the board is properly flooded and you feel like you actually can transfer most of that damage to the enemy hero, as in there's not too many taunts out and what have you, then you play Bloodlust. If the enemy hero is shielded behind too many taunts, or there's just too many other things going on that you can't really effectively use these cards, when it is advisable, when you are not in desperation mode and have to use it, you hold these cards until that situation arises. Sometimes it doesn't happen and you don't end up too well with this deck. But when it does, your opponent won't really see it coming and won't have much of a defense. And that's kind of the idea behind it. You play that beefy minion. And even if you have the mana to play your Rockbiter that turn, you don't do it. You wait until it can attack. You make sure it has a clear avenue to hitting the enemy hero. Then you play that Rockbiter. Then you play that Wind Fury. And bam, you've got 18 damage. And if you have any other minions on the board or any other means of damaging, I mean, heck, that only cost you 3 mana. At this point, if you're playing a Boulder Fist Ogre, you're going to have mana left over. Then you add on that damage. And it's very easy to defeat a minion that has a hero that has quite high health in one turn with this deck. And that's the whole idea. But you don't reveal your hand. You do not play these cards when it's not that kill situation. At least if everything is going the way you want it to, that's the way you play it. Now, other cards that I have in this deck, now I have some cards to help me with some board clear, like the Lightning Bolt. Although it has Overload, I consider this a very decent card. It only costs 1 mana and it does 3 damage. It's a good way to deal with, mid to lower tier enemies. Hex is always your good clear for the more beefy enemies that are harder to deal with. And then you also have other buff cards that are out there. You have your Flame Tongue Totem. This is a very good card that will combo with your flooding of the board of totems. This is a very strong card for the Shaman. You do have to keep in mind, though, most enemy players that are experienced will gun for the Flame Tongue Totem as soon as it's played. So always play it in the best situation when you're going to get value out of it. Not just as it's by itself on the board. That's never a good play for this card. We also have what I consider a very solid card, the Shattered Sun Cleric, which allows you to buff other creatures as well. And as I said, this is how you can combo up to things. For instance, if you played a Boulder Fist Ogre the turn after that, you play your Rockbiter, your Lightning, your Wind Fury, and your Shattered Sun Cleric. Then this guy goes up to being a 10 attack value minion, and with Wind Fury, you can do 20 damage. So you see the value of kind of how these things work together. Then you also have the Stormwind Champion. I actually added this card to the deck very recently, but it will give every minion on the board +1/+1. It's a very solid, strong card. Fire Elemental is also another solid, strong card, and this is one of those cards that you can easily combo off of because it's got good damage, but it also is a good way to clear the board as well because of his ability to deal 3 damage out to whoever you choose when he's played. So there's a lot of good, solid cards here, and there's a lot of cards that you can play to kind of flood the board with as well. Now, where this deck is pretty weak is it's kind of weak in the middle. You have a lot of cards you can play that are low-cost cards, but you don't have too many in the 4+ category. Most of those 5+ cards are going to be more your finishing type cards or your cards to set things up. Another card that I added in here that's not really a basic card. You know, most of the decks that I'm building at this point are mostly basic cards, but as I've been unlocking decks, I'll be upgrading these decks, slightly. You're going to have, some extra non-basic cards. For instance, the Whirling Zap-O-Matic, the Lightning Bolts, and, your Ventricle Mercenary. Now, I put him in because he might be a good combo option early on. You play him at 5 cost, and if you have the Rockbiter and Wind Fury in your hand, you can then combo him even more effectively than, for instance, your Boulderfist Ogre, or he'll do more damage. So I think he's a good card, but I only have one of him because I understand his limitations of making your minions more expensive, and that would limit the other alternative kill route, which is the Bloodlust. So all right, I think that's pretty much wrapping up what that deck's all about, and pretty good detail. So let's go ahead and get into some rank play here. So let's switch up to the Comboist. All right, let's get in here and play a match. And hopefully we can demonstrate the strengths of this deck. As I said, this deck can be shut down. A lot of it just depends on the circumstances. If the opponent has really good board clear, and they're able to, keep your board clear, there's not a whole lot you can do about this. This deck gets shut down pretty easily if that happens.
Your soul shall be mine.
Okay, that's not a bad starting hand. We don't have a turn 1 play, but it gets us one of our combo elements in hand. And it gets us a card to clear and a card for a turn 2 play. So I think that's a pretty strong hand. I mean, it could be better, but I'm not about to discard cards to get far worse. Like something like that, which is totally not helpful to us. Fortunately, we don't have a turn 1 play. As I said, you could play the Rockbiter, but it's not advisable unless you have the, kill situation.
Why do you call?
All right. So he's kind of forced our hand here. We pretty much have no alternative. Well, Lightning Bolt might be a good situation here, but I think Swamp Ooze, let him kind of deal with it, see what he's going to do about it. That puts pressure on him. We could still do the Lightning Bolt play next turn, as we don't really have a strong turn 3. So it's still up in the air. Okay. Now we have a couple different targets for our Lightning Bolt. What we could do here, Lightning Bolt this guy. Play our totem. See what it is. Okay, that's a good strong totem for us. And we clear his board. Okay, so far things are going pretty well for us. And that's what we want to see. So let's see how he responds to that. There's a number of things a Warlock can do to take care of the situation, obviously. So we're not necessarily golden, but we're in an okay position. Now, if we can get a healing totem out, that makes us a little bit stronger. That way you can't mortal coil us or something like that. Okay. There's not a whole lot I can do about that. And considering none of my minions that are on the board right now are really worth putting out on the board right now, I think what we're going to do is just allow the Doomsayer to do its thing. It's a good answer to what was going on here. I mean, he's got a taunt and then the Acidic Swamp Ooze that he can't really deal with. And it kind of stops us from being able to play, but unfortunately, I can't clear that. You know, if I put the Flame Tongue Totem... Oh, wait, hold on. Flame Tongue Totem, that gives that 2 damage. And that gives that 5. That equals 7. Okay, that's actually our play. Keeps our board healthy. Unfortunately, he, again, has a lot of things he can do to respond to this. But I think we're better off with keeping a board presence. Again, we don't have very strong plays after that, though. It's kind of our problem. Hopefully, we get a nice top deck draw here. I mean, we're not in a horrible situation, but he can do things like that, start limiting us. Yeah, that doesn't help. Because this would only add, what, 6 damage to what we've got? No need for that. But we're still in a strong position here. Heck, if we can get a Wind Fury card here, we can maybe do our combo early. But after this turn, where we kind of had weak play, we're going to have stronger play. We're going to have the Fire Elemental. See, you know, things like that could have happened. You can't depend upon your board presence too much sometimes. I still think the Fire Elemental is the best play here. Well, frankly, it's our only play. And we'll work from this. So far, pretty strong play or positioning for us. But we're going to have to see, you know, how does he respond to this? Hard to say exactly what he's going to do. All right. That makes the likelihood that he's going to kill the Fire Elemental a little bit less. So. All right. I think at this point, we could start trying to go for his face, but I want to set up the kill situation. So what we're going to do is he may very well have another Hellfire, which will shut this down pretty hard. But I think we got to do this and hope for the Bloodlust finish here, which I think we're in prime position to do. But a Hellfire will shut that down. It will still keep our Fire Elemental on the board. And technically, I think, you know, we're really close to being able to finish him with that. But the best thing that can happen for him right now is a Hellfire. Granted, if he uses a Hellfire, he damages himself. So, yeah, he would be dead. Unless he can come up with some means to kill the Fire Elemental in the same turn he uses the Hellfire. So, we'll have to see what he does here. He may just concede, honestly. This is a very strong position for me. Because I'm close to killing him even without playing any cards.
Someone call.
Alright. He tries to put himself out of lethal range. But we've got our kill on him, for sure. If he doesn't have a response beyond this, we've got our kill. Yeah, he's dead. See, all these cards he's playing don't matter because he's not stopping the incoming damage. Alright. Goodbye. Boom. Boom. And there's your combo deck for you. He didn't see it coming until it was too late. Okay, so that's one match in the bank there. Get a little bit of gold. And let's go for another win here. And that's my first rank play with this deck, so you see 1 out of 500, which is how much you need to unlock the golden classic hero. Let's play another match with this. as I said, I've only played usually casual play. I don't play that much ranked play, although I'm probably going to go for that now because I realize that you can get some card backs by ranking up. But let's go ahead and play another game. Now, that was a good example of the, things going in your favor. There's possibilities that this deck can get shut down, and a priest might be a good way that happens. Okay, so we've got the Wind Fury card in hand. As much as I'm not a big fan of this hand, I think I'm going to keep it, because it could be worse, for sure. All right, that's better. We at least have a means of clearing anything that's a little bit scarier to deal with. But we have to keep in mind, priests are full of real crazy play, and just be mindful of that. Okay, so I'm not seeing a turn 1 play here. So I'm going to go ahead and end turn. And light ourselves a fire. Keep warm. Alright, let's see what the priest does here. Nothing, yep. I think our turn 3 play, or turn 2 play. Well, that's a strong turn 2 play. And I think I'm going to play it because as much as I could coin up into the Iron for Grizzly here, I think this is the better play. Because this might actually eke out some of his, Shadow Word Pains and things like that. So let's go ahead and do that play instead. And we keep our coin to maybe combo with later. Okay. And he plays Iron for Grizzly. And we can just use our Swamp Ooze to immediately kill that. Now we have both of our Wind Furies, so that's a good kind of position to be in. I think clearly here we trade, and then we play our own Grizzly. I think it's the strongest play here. Now, honestly, we could have Lightning Bolted it and, things like that, but now we can Lightning Bolt. Oh, no, not so much now. That actually causes me some problems. I think the strong play here, though, is we can kill this. That's for sure. And that play would be this,
must cleanse the Sunwell,
which gives us enough health to survive. We coin up into the Flame Tongue Totem. We kill this. We only come out with 1 health, but I think that was our best move. Unfortunately, we don't have a follow-up play, so that's going to be problematic. We could Wind Fury early, though, because we already have one in our hand, if the Grizzly here stays alive. But they can do that and kind of shut that down. So, as you already... we kind of talked about, Priest can do some pretty crazy things. Now, unless he does something else, you can't use Shadow Word Pain on Grizzly with 4 attack. That's 1 out of its range. Mind Blast my hero. Honestly, when I play Priest, I take those cards out. I don't really think Mind Blast is all that useful. Okay, that card doesn't help us at all. But as you saw there, when I put the totem out, he immediately dealt with it because that is a scary card to leave out on the board. You don't really want to do that. I think we're just going to totem up here. We get a nice taunt here, and I think we just start applying some damage.
push forward.
Now again, I could have Wind Furied here and did a little bit more damage, but I kind of want to see how things progress here. I want to make sure we're in a solid position for it. It would be nice to have the Bloodlust card in our hand. That would really help us. Okay, this guy really likes doing the Power Word Shield play. It's not a bad play. That's a definite Hex card, though. I mean, why not? I think we're going to be able to do... See, we could have done a combo here. We could have done the Shattered Sun Cleric, buffed this up to 5, then done the Wind Fury, and done a total of 10 damage here. But I actually don't think that we're going to be doing that. Instead, we're going to be hexing that. we're going to destroy it
Push
with our
forward.
cleric here. And as much as I could play my cleric here to buff up the grizzly, that puts him in Shadow Word Death territory, which is not what I want. What I'd like is a healing totem here. We didn't get one, but that's okay. That makes the lightning bolt more effective, which is one of the reasons why you want to flood the board with totems. And there's our turn. So we're set up for next turn. If he can't clear the board, we're very set up for next turn. So I think we're in a pretty good position. Again, this is where Bloodlust would really help us, but unfortunately we just don't have the combo in our hand. Okay. Buffing that guy up and hit me with another Mind Blast. Alright, well, we've got a combo here. We can do the Rock Biter, Wind Fury, and the Shattered Sun Cleric. That would buff this up to 5-8. That's 16 damage, but we're shy of killing him. So I'm not so sure and how in favor I am of that. But do we have enough for the Lightning Bolt? That would be 6. Lightning Bolt is 5. That's still shy, isn't it? Because we can get him up to 8, 16, 19. No, I think we got him. So let's do it. This is how you do the combo stuff. So let's
We must
buff.
cleanse the Sunwell.
Buff. Wind Fury. Attack. 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 And Lightning Bolt. Boom! And that's how the combo deck works. And he had a fair amount of health, 21. But even with 21 health, he was quickly finished off. And we get a little bit of gold card reward there. So, hey, that's some nice solid wins there. We got to show off how the combo deck works. And that was an incredible finishing combo. And that's why I like this deck, is because, you know, he's sitting in a kind of strong position. I mean, I've got a pretty good board presence, but it's not a lot of damage on the field there. It was only 7. But that 7 very quickly turns into, you know, 19 or however much. Yeah, it was 19 damage. And then we had the Lightning Bolt in our hand to finish everything off. We do 23 damage in one turn. Hard to deal with that. If you are, you know, playing through a number of turns, you're going to assume that you've hit him a few times to the face. So oftentimes 23 damage is all you need, and that's all we did need. So in any case, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.